going on, guys? It's your boy Brandon, and we're back. We had a small hiatus. Welcome back to the Real Sensitive Guys.
Yay, we're clapping. Oliver with a golf clap.
Hey man, it's subtle but it's important.
So we're sorry we had a week off. It was not planned. We were not taking a vacation. At least I wasn't.
Yeah, spit happens, you know?
Spit happens.
Is that supposed to be like spin happens or something?
Spin happens.
Is this a run-on
I like
of your
that.
name?
I like that.
That's what I
Shit
thought.
literally happened.
Sounds like a really bad pun.
This is episode 5 of the Real Sensitive Guys, where we just talk about nonsense and hope that it's entertaining for you motherfuckers out there.
It's a show about nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting.
So we're gonna start off. I guess we have to explain ourselves, right?
I guess.
I don't think it's us. I think it's you,
All right.
Brandyn.
All right. Put the
Yeah.
pressure on me. I'm ready. I'm ready for it.
All right,
I'm
Brandon,
ready.
explain.
So, kind of backtrack a little bit. A couple months ago, I was having really bad stomach pains, and my girlfriend was like, "Bro, you got to get that checked out." And I'm like, "No, I'm just gonna pop Tums and hope that it goes away." So that's essentially what I did, and eventually the pain did go away, and I went about, eating the normal things that I did because I kind of compensated, drank milk, blander diet, that sort of thing. Well, about a week and a half ago, I started shitting and puking blood. And it got to the point where I was in my bathroom, like passed out. Almost there. Like I was losing out on my vision and seeing, stars and things of that nature. So I called my girlfriend. She sent somebody to pick me up and send me to the ER.
Bless that person.
But dude, Kirsten,
Shout out.
fucking
Yeah,
Kirsten.
shout out to Kirsten.
Kirsten.
Shout out Curse.
She's in my house. I hope she hears me right now.
Shout out Curse.
So I get to the ER and like everything's fine. Like I've kind of regained consciousness. I'm feeling better because I'm like safe and in a good environment. I start getting super hot, like the video game, but like 10 times worse.
Super hot fire.
Super hot fire. I spit hot fire.
I was hotter than Angelina Jolie in her 20s, dude. Like it was insane.
Were you hotter than J-Lo and Shakira at the halftime show at the Super Bowl?
We could talk about that. That was so good, dude. Those ladies are like fucking 50 years old, and they're still hot as
Shakira
shit.
is 38 and J-Lo is in her 50s.
She's 5'0".
50 on the dot. 50
50
even.
on the dot.
Yeah,
He's
pretty sure
5'0".
Yeah. Shakira is still young.
38, that's,
That's young.
fairly young.
I
I'd
was not
still hit.
expecting that.
Yeah, whatever.
They kind of killed it.
They did great. Anyway, so I go to the ER, and I'm like, I'm hot as shit. I feel terrible. I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick. I start pooping again, which has more blood, so I'm losing more blood at this point. I clean myself up, and I literally am dying of heat still. So I decide to lay on the floor of the bathroom. Probably disgusting, but my face was straight on these floor tiles because of how hot it was. Think of that drunk moment that you had when you're blackout drunk and your solace, the only solace in your life is your bathroom floor. Essentially the same thing. So the custodial staff are like,
I feel like that's why bathrooms were made tile.
So that way it stays
I
cold.
mean, it's probably easier to clean
That
up
you can
way.
cool your drunk face.
that's also why paper towels were invented for like cleaning and a makeshift pillow for that moment as well.
Cuddling.
Fair enough.
And to be your buddy when you're tripping.
My friend, come to me.
So custodial staff were like, "Hey, do you want me to get a nurse or something?" And I'm like, "No, yes, give me a nurse, please." So I'm expedited. I go through the long list because the ER was super busy that day. I was an emergency at that moment because I was literally passing out, like at that very moment.
He was
Yeah,
dying.
definitely.
A little scary.
It was.
Oh,
I
very
look like a meth head that was ODing in the middle of the hospital just because of how
That's
skinny
probably what
I
they
am.
thought was happening.
Oh, more than likely. So they take me back to the ER. I get my own room, and immediately I'm flooded with nurses. They get 2 huge ass needles. huge ass needles into each of my veins on each arm. And because they asked me what's up, what's going on, I'm pooping out blood. And this male nurse, who's the most serious motherfucker I've ever met, he's bantering with me back and forth about facts about physics and doctor shit because I'm asking a lot of questions. I'm very curious. I like to know these things. And eventually he's like, I have to do an anal exam. Fuck. So I'm like shitting myself. Not literally, because of the fact that I have to do an anal exam. And eventually he tells me, get on your side and pull down your pants. Okay.
Let's go.
I didn't... We're getting intimate.
Oliver.
I pull down my scrawny little pants and I look over at this man who's been very serious this whole time. And I was like, yo, do we have a safe word? Like, can we use pineapple or some shit? The only time that I saw him laugh. I don't know if you guys have ever gotten a finger in your butt, and apparently this is a normality once you get older.
Yes, I have.
It was the worst thing I've ever experienced in my goddamn life. The worst.
Yeah, but you were clinching. You were clinching.
hold on,
that
hold
was
on.
the main problem.
Hold on.
Whoa, Will.
It's
stop
traumatic,
jumping
all
the
right?
gun.
Would you want it to happen to you, Will?
Yo, jump the
I've
gun.
had it
please.
happen to me. I've had a prostate exam.
He lubes his finger up, and he kind of, I feel like he teased me a little bit. He kind of like went
God.
along the rim.
Oh God. Teased it.
And
loosened it up a
eventually-
bit.
Get you going.
Just he sticks a full his first knuckle went in and I immediately denied it. I clenched as hard as I could with every part of my being. Fingers, I hate pooping. There is nothing more that I fucking hate than pooping backwards. He stuck one knuckle up my ass and I was not allowing it. So he starts yelling at me. He's like, stop clinching, stop clinching. And I just kept doing it. And it took all of my power to allow him to get to the second knuckle. And he pulled,
Oh, it was a two-knuckler.
he has the audacity to pull out the finger and say, yeah, there's blood here. Bitch, I could have told you that.
Yeah.
That's what he was
Brandyn
trying
got
for?
fingered.
The blood that you'd been shitting out all night.
Yes.
This guy's a genius.
Greatest of all time.
I
Really
think he
great
just
guy,
wanted
really
to
great
get
guy.
inside you.
We had a
I
connection.
feel like he just. I bet after all that, I mean,
I
you
think
had
you
a
need to
finger up your
confirm
ass.
that you weren't a meth head telling a lie.
Maybe.
He's like,
That's
all
fair.
right, gotta make sure this dude isn't ODing on crack.
Just making up a story because he ended up passed out on the hospital bathroom floor.
I wonder if he
He
does
probably
this with
thinks-
everybody. Some kid breaks his
probably-
arm. Get ready.
Okay. That was too dramatic for
He
me.
probably
I
thought
thought-
that you put crack up your ass or something. Probably thinks that's how you injected it.
I was running across the border.
There's no condom full of cocaine in my butt. I promise.
I swear to you, sir.
I swear.
So yeah.
But then we came to visit, Will and I.
Yes, so
Yeah.
Travis and I got news immediately, and Travis was wondering if I was going to go, and I said yeah, so I'd pick him up. So we went there, and we had to wait in the cafeteria, which felt like a jail cell. The entire cafeteria was closed, so all the gates were down. I felt like I was in lockdown.
Oh yeah.
And-
At first it was really lonely, but then people started showing up to pay tribute to Brandyn, and the cafeteria started to fill up. Soon we had a
But-
whole table full. We had me,
Hey.
Will, like 3 other people probably.
Yes, they're very close friends with Brandyn. And Brandon's girlfriend texts me, and she seems really mad because these people did not tell her that they were coming. The only people that told her were me and Travis.
And we're all
so
just sitting
me
in the closed cafeteria, like
right.
being
While
real
there's
loud
other
and
registered
rambunctious.
nurses, while other registered nurses are trying to eat their dinner before they start their shift. And we're waiting to
feel
see
like-
Brandyn because he's still in IC.
We provided some comic relief to those couple waitresses that were eating
We did.
Are
We
there
did.
Waitresses in a hospital.
waitresses?
No,
nurses.
nurses.
What am I saying? Wow.
So me and Travis are sitting there, and we're trying to figure out when we're going to be able to see Brandon since he's still stuck in ICU. This is after they had found out everything that had happened to Brandon, and Brandon, I'll let Brandon tell what happened and what they found. But so we're sitting there having a good old time, and Travis and I look at each other and we're like, we're both hungry. So we're like, what are we going to do afterwards? We're going to get not Asian Garden, Chinese buffet, Chinatown buffet. And so we get up there, we go see Brandon. He's still, or no, I went up first because I wanted to see Brandon because he was still in ICU.
Yeah, they were telling us one at a time. We didn't want to crowd him.
Right. So then we get to move Brandon over to General, and there's this super hot nurse. Oh my God.
Will's future wife was at the
Dude,
hospital.
she was so hot. She had the nose ring. She had the cute mole. Oh,
She was funny. She was fun. She was easygoing.
So while we're on our way, while
we know
we're
her
moving
name?
Brandon, no.
Damn.
We'll just
So
call her
while we're
Tresemme.
moving- Yes. While we're moving
trusty advisor.
Brandon, while we're moving Brandon to General, I pick up Travis so that way me and him can see him and then get out of there. We get Brandon to his new room. There's another old dude in his room that turns out to be one of the most baller motherfuckers in the world.
Baller as fuck, dude.
And
Yeah, we thought we were
she's-
disturbing him. Like,
We did. And we pull into the room, and Brandon's starting to get up, and the nurse pulls back the chair, and we haven't said a dang thing to her at all the entire time. And Travis's first words are, "What's the weirdest thing you've pulled out of a person's ass?" And without missing a beat, this girl goes, "Shampoo bottle." It was
a Tresemme shampoo bottle.
Tresemme shampoo bottle. And, then
And
she
you
was-
know
then
these
she,
things. They don't make small Tresemme shampoo bottles, all right? The smallest one is like this.
And so then she took a pause and she was like, they had to remove the man's colon too. And I'm like, oh my God.
What even possesses you to try that?
No, but
Holy
like,
shit.
She was a trooper being able to just say that without hesitation. It was amazing. It was,
Dude,
I
I
loved
feel
it.
like she's been asked before or something.
Dude, she was trained.
I'm showing the audience right now. I was like thinking of just a normal Suave bottle. Oliver, Google a
dude.
Tresemme bottle.
This is legit like a perfect circular, real
They're
fat
huge as
motherfucking
fuck.
shampoo.
I couldn't
Yeah.
get 2 knuckles, dude.
And
This
imagine,
dude probably fell in the shower.
this guy had to do so much training. He had to get his ass so elastic.
That's a lot of lube.
Where do you start if you're trying to train your asshole? Like, you do.
I feel like you just
Finger?
start with
You start
something
with a
small, yeah, like a finger, and then
finger?
gradually.
Oh, those things are not small.
That's too much. That's too many. That's too many bumps. Too many moving parts there.
Yeah, even the smallest bottle is not that small, my dude.
So me and Travis get done talking
like
to Brandon
to
and we
Sharpie.
leave. But I would like Brandon to tell the audience what was wrong with him.
Oh, so I kind of want to set the scene.
Yeah, the golden question, right?
So
What happened to Brandon Payne?
So I was in the ICU because they just did surgery. They took a camera and went through my body and they checked everything out. That's not what matters. We moved from the cozy ICU where I have a room all to myself for like 2 days. It's great. It looks nice in there. There's nobody else.
There's room.
Oh my, it's so much room. I get transferred to the floor with old people
That are dying.
that are essentially dying.
Like, these people had masks. When I walked through, these people were like sitting in there. They had the masks on and they are breathing heavy. There's people standing next to them in the beds that are praying and all that. Like, you know, these people are going through some shit. And
Literally.
then there's just Brandon just sitting there. Like, oh, what's up,
Chilling,
guys?"
trying not to get another finger up his butt.
I was on my best fucking behavior, brother.
I'll tell you anything, guys. I'll tell you anything that's in there. Tell you about the blood.
So I get transferred, and immediately, it's like a fucking zoo down there. My roommate doesn't wake up for 4 fucking days. 4 days. Not once did he wake up until my final day there. He snores louder than 2 Kirby vacuums that are dysfunctional. Not only that, there are 2 different types of people. There are 2 other people in that hospital that are just obnoxious. This one lady who demands attention throughout all of the day and night. She goes, yoo-hoo, yoo-hoo, yoo-hoo. And then she'll say some random person's name. Thomas, come in here. And every single time the nurse is like, my name's not Thomas. My name's still not Thomas. She'll do that. And the second thing what she'll do is kick repeatedly on the bottom of her bed if she does not get the attention without, you know, a certain amount of allotted time. So I have this obnoxious bitch. And then I just have other just general old people that just make death sounds.
Maybe
That doesn't sound like a great
maybe
advice.
she like chocolate milk, like yoo-hoos.
Yoo-hoo!
Big
She
summer
was just
blowout.
trying to get a drink, man. She was just trying to get drink.
Yeah.
It was such a toxic environment. Like, so the day before I got the 2 days, the day before the day I got released, I was promised that I was going to be released, and then the GI doctor, the area that was bleeding, was like, I'm not gonna release you tomorrow. I'm gonna keep you. That night I cried. I started weeping. I'm not even fucking with you.
I heard you.
Brandon thought he was dying.
I heard you were pissed.
I was so... it was a travesty because I was stuck in fucking purgatory. It wasn't
That's
hell.
fucked,
It
man.
wasn't that part yet. Like, you know, I had like some luxuries. I had my phone. I could watch like WWE videos.
Isn't GI gastrointestines or something like that?
Gastrointestinal.
Okay. Just
I
clarifying,
remember-
some people don't know.
I remember when we were waiting in the waiting room and Brandon's girlfriend messaged me and she's Brandon had a bowel movement in bed while they were waiting to transfer him. And I'm like, oh, so he shit himself.
What?
Yeah, apparently you had a bowel movement.
Were you conscious?
I don't remember shitting myself. Did I shit myself unconsciously?
I think
don't
that was the
know.
case, bro. I think that's what she was insinuating.
What?
I mean, it happens.
Travis, do you remember the old
That was like
lady
right when we
that
got
was
there.
when we were leaving?
Yeah, she really acted like she knew you. I was
Dude,
convinced that she did. She did well.
There, when me and Travis left Brandon's room, we were leaving to go to the elevator and tell the people to come back. And there was this old lady sitting in one of like her hospital bed that had been
And she
rolled
goes
out and
like,
stuff like
"Oh, there you are."
yeah,
to
to
Will.
me. And I'm like, I don't know you. I knew the nurse because I had went to school with her. And so I was trying to say hi to her. And the old lady is like, she's like grabbing my arm and like everything. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I don't.
I'm
I
like,
don't
dude, we are
know
so close
who
to
you are."
food now. You need to get
was
off
like-
her.
I was like, I don't know who you are. And like while she's doing it, she's pulling up her gown and like her freaking like blanket. I'm like, all right, I
I'm gonna
need
come.
to leave before I see something that will scar me for life and make me lose my appetite.
Yeah. Probably good call.
It was terrifying.
He
Dude.
definitely did not lose his appetite, though. You devoured like
Yeah, I
an
did.
insane amount of food from
I
that
did.
Chinese buffet.
That hospital
did.
though was just fucking terrible.
I wonder if they got
You
him.
didn't think you were in good care?
No, okay. Let me rephrase this. The experience of being in a hospital fucking sucked.
That's
But the
probably
nurses and everybody and the
everybody
doctors
probably
were
hates
great.
it, bro. Like when my dad went to the
yeah.
hospital for his heart attack, he was there for 2 days and he hated it. He was like,
There's
I
just
can't.
a bad vibe with the place because it's associated with bad shit happening.
He was
Death.
like, I can't.
It's
he's like,
associated with death.
he was
Never
like, I
in the
can't do
hospital
anything.
for a good reason.
Yeah, he was like, I can't do anything. I'm just sitting around for 2 days. I was like, I mean, that's how it is, pretty much.
Yeah, the doctor's office,
Brandon.
it's like you might be in the waiting room or just like getting a checkup, but at the hospital, some bad shit went down if you're there.
Oh yeah. Brandon, you still haven't gotten to what was wrong with you? What happened, my man?
So it's a combination of a bunch of different things. For once, I ignored the pains that were going on in my body. I have a duodenal. I don't know how to fucking say this. Let me look this up real quick.
Dewey Decimal System.
Dewey Decibel System. Duo
double down.
duodenal ulcer. So essentially, under your stomach is
Duo as in two.
the duodenum. It's like the first part of your small intestine, and I have an ulcer, which is basically like just sore tissue. But it got so bad to the point that it eroded down to my blood vessel. So which caused internal bleeding, thus the blood in my puke in my blood in my asshole. So long story short, I was in there for like a week, in actual purgatory. And now as long as there's no blood as long as I'm not internal bleeding, we're just letting the ulcer heal. No alcohol for at least half a year, like 6 months. I can't drink at all. 0%.
It's truly unfortunate.
I thought they said 6 weeks.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
It's alcohol that I need to like
Is it just
really
alcohol? 'Cause
avoid.
It's just too hard on your stomach, I guess.
Yeah, it literally erodes. So within your intestines, there's mucus that protects against your stomach acid because it's like the most potent thing ever. So alcohol literally just erodes that shit away. And I'm a fucking frat guy. I party every single weekend, usually on Tuesdays too, sometimes on a Thursday. It's like 4 days a week.
Yes. We even a substitute just power through, or
That's what your girlfriend seems to think got you into this mess, partly.
Yes.
I mean, I can see it. If you're drinking straight liquor all
Yeah.
the time, then it's probably hard on your stomach. Like beer's not as hard as liquor, but still.
I
That's
think
gotta
that's a
cause
big
some
part.
erosion, man. Some like high key like whiskey has got to cause some erosion down
You
there.
think Brandon
But the
drinks
bad
whiskey?
I don't know. Fireball's whiskey.
But see, that's the thing that's gonna suck for Brandon is that once he's able to be able to drink again, he can't drink liquor or any of the hard stuff anymore. All he's allowed to drink anymore is beer.
There's
So
nothing wrong
Brandon
with
had
that.
to give away his Fireball. How was that, Brandon? Giving away your Fireball?
Well, I dude, honestly, like if you told me
I was not
today,
considered in the running for this.
I gave it to the first person I saw. If I was given the choice, or I was told like today that you can never drink again in your life, I am 100% okay with that. Like that's cool. The biggest problem is the fucking diet restrictions that I have. Number one fucking problem
dude.
that I hate to my fucking soul is that I can't drink caffeine for 4 weeks.
Oh,
And
a month
once
of no
you-
caffeine, dude.
And once you can, it's like every once in a while, right? You can't be like constant with it.
It's safe levels.
Okay, so if
Have
like,
you
a
had
coffee
like
every 4
withdrawals
days, you
or
know.
anything?
In the hospital, I
caffeine?
did.
Withdrawals.
No, that's for real.
That's a
Caffeine
real
is like a
thing.
fucking
Like,
drug, man. Caffeine is like a fucking drug.
Brandon,
hospital,
tell
I had
him
a
about
bad-
the dude. Tell him about the guy in your general house. Like what he was having withdrawals from. Like why was he?
So we'll get to my neighbor in a second. I want to kind of put a bow into everything that I have to do now, because it's heavily on my mind right now. So I want to talk about it. So I can't. So caffeine is like, it's unbelievable how much motivation that I get from caffeine. I don't want to do anything at all. Even like doing this podcast, I was a little wary of. So.
Fuck you, man. I'm just kidding.
No, but it's bizarre. Like it's insane. I can't have anything that upsets stomachs. So like milk is a no. A lot of sugary stuff is a no. Fried foods is a no.
Dude, this would like ruin my entire diet.
I am like, you think about it. Like you guys as well as like the
It
the
would
audience. Think about all of your meals just gone. There's
You
nothing
can't
I
have
can do.
anything good, man. You can't have chili cheese fries.
No.
He can't have anything with fats in it.
I mean, that's not a big deal for me because I don't like super like fried food all the time anyway.
You can't have like chicken wings and stuff, like fried chicken.
You
He can have
baked
chicken wings.
you can baked chicken.
He can have chicken wings. They just have to be plain.
And dog, I'm
'Cause
all
it's a source of
about
protein.
like I've gotten into cooking just now. Like I'm about like grilling shit. That's cool. But I also fucking love having sheets,
Bacon.
appetizers.
Right. I love cooking
Bacon.
my own meals. It feels so rewarding. But some nights I'm like, fuck it, man. I want to eat some shit. It's gonna be so good.
Doritos, dude.
Taco
Doritos.
Bell.
Dude, Taco Bell's gross, bro. I haven't had that in so long.
Brandon's
Taco
reaction
Bell,
to
dude.
Taco
I haven't
fucking
had that
Bell,
in so
dude.
long.
Oliver, you're just a stud, dude.
Yeah, you're so healthy. You're so sober. Oh my god.
No. I like, so when I eat, I don't like to snack on things. I like to have meals that like actually fill me up. I don't like to snack on things throughout the day. Now, I'll eat Taco Bell every once in a while, but I haven't had it in so long. It's because it's like it's not that appetizing to me. Like, yeah, they have some good things on their menu that I'll eat, but like, it's
So-
nothing I'm gonna eat every third.
Oliver,
day.
what's the nastiest thing you eat on a regular basis? Like, what's the most unhealthiest
Oh,
place you go to
Dick.
eat?
Probably
or
have,
food,
like-
or meal you eat?
Five Guys.
I don't eat Five Guys. I don't like their
I
burgers.
do.
I puked from their burgers before. I don't.
Really?
I love their burgers
Yeah.
so much.
I'd say
Their burgers are
probably
so good.
I eat like Anthony's like fried apps, or I get like a milkshake probably once a week.
Dude, Five Guys is so
Anthony's-
deadly for me.
Anthony's-
Anthony's is
some good shit.
right next to where I
Go.
work, so it's
Yeah.
so tough, bro.
That's
It's
nice.
so
That's
tough.
nice. You're next to a lot of good stuff actually working there.
Yeah, but it gets repetitive because I eat it all the time, bro. The only
Dude,
thing
I
I don't.
feel that the food near me is getting repetitive too. Like
Yeah.
You're
I mean,
you're
I'll
next to a convenience store where you work, so I'm sure
I'm next
just
to
like
everything, but I still like can only really like as far as what can get me my food fast enough so I can actually like enjoy it and do shit in my lunch hour. I have like 4 to 5 options, and I just cycle between.
You ever
them
go to
every
Blue
week.
Moon?
I've been thinking of like trying to call something into there and go pick it up. I might try that here soon.
I say
got
do
They got a
that.
lot of good stuff. Yeah, they got a lot of good
I just
stuff.
like to
They
go like
really
order
do.
something to go and then.
Yeah, that's fair.
They have some really good stuff there.
yeah. So I can't eat like good shit at all.
You can't
It
eat
sucks.
anything good, man.
So what is your diet
fried
consist of?
sugar? Ah.
What I want, ideally what I want to do is like just meal prep and
Okay.
eat like oatmeal in the morning is what I've been going towards.
Oatmeal's nice.
Oh, those good.
What
Maple
flavor?
and brown sugar oatmeal is so
Okay.
good.
That's the best.
I like the
That's
apple
the best.
cinnamon personally, but maple brown sugar is like a close second.
Just mostly chicken. You know, I've been eating eggs. I had an egg sandwich for dinner. It honestly, it's really hard. Like I'm struggling. I genuinely am.
What's the one thing that you wish you could still eat that you can't? The one thing.
Dude, if I could just have fucking caffeine.
Yeah, caffeine.
Okay, on a positive note, though, on a
Diet.
positive note, you've been on this diet for like 2 weeks now, ish. Okay, like a week and a half. What is your like favorite meal that's within your diet that you like look forward to?
Literally
'Cause,
grilled chicken.
even if there's a lot of shit you can't eat,
I
you
can
still
answer
gotta
this.
have things that you really enjoy that you can eat.
I can
You
answer
gotta,
this.
you gotta look at those.
What is it?
It is the grilled chicken wrap with no bacon. That is the worst part about it. The grilled chicken wrap from the Devonshire.
Is it actually good? I've
Ooh,
never
the
really
Dev.
eaten good.
It's
I've considered getting lunch
amazing
there
there.
too.
I've never
Oh,
had
wait.
food there.
Dude, the food there is amazing.
Yep, food is good. Let's not tempt Brandon.
Dude, it's gonna be rough for a while. I want to play it safe
Dude.
though. You know, and we talk about Mel. Like you said that Mel got mad at the boys. But she has been. I just shout out Mel real quick. She has
Oh,
been
no, seriously,
nothing
she's
but
been-
amazing.
By your side the
Literally
whole
so
time.
hard, so
what a
hard.
loyal
Poor
woman.
woman.
Women are beautiful, man.
You motherfucking shitted. Yeah,
Nah,
dude.
She's been awesome though.
Yeah, just
Like, me as,
find
like, a
yourself a
third
Mel.
roommate, she's been awesome.
Big shout outs for sure.
Find yourself a Mel.
Like, she's been deterring a lot of. She's had to like lay down the law several times. Like, no, you cannot visit him. There's too many people trying to visit. Just go home.
You're saying
mean,
I was like a mob boss.
Dude, okay,
So
so
it really
imagine
was
if
like
you're-
that, though.
Imagine if you're like in this hospital and you have like 15 people visiting you and they're not family members. I'd be like, if I was a nurse, I'd probably like, who are all these people? Like,
Probably be like, who is this guy?
yeah, seriously.
Who is this guy?
No, it's really bizarre. The whole experience was bizarre. It was also
It was
like
very bizarre. Not the call I expected to get on a Tuesday morning.
No, not at all.
my roommate was dope as shit though.
Tell us about him, please.
So I'm not gonna dox him because that's fucked up. But my roommate, who was sleeping like 5 out of the 7 days that I was there, and even then he was sleeping like 18 hours of the day. He was there for a septic infection. I don't know where. I couldn't hear that.
Don't want to know.
Yeah.
Usually those happen in unsavory places.
So he had a septic infection, which basically means that it was like really fucked. Like he was really bad. And then he was also withdrawing from alcohol, and not just any type of alcohol. 2 pints a day. Why can't he get an ulcer?
Frat boy.
But he's killing it. He's a
Dude,
god.
if he had an ulcer, he would have
He's a
eaten away
god.
half his stomach by now and probably not even noticed. 'Cause he was
Deadass.
so wasted.
Bro, that man was a god.
Can you imagine how much is 2 pints? How
A
much is
lot.
that?
Too fucking much for one person to have in a day.
2 pints
gonna
into
say,
gallons.
If you're having 2 pints a day, isn't that borderline alcoholic?
That is very much alcoholic.
That is not how
I was
much I
about
thought
to
it was
say.
gonna be.
How much is it?
It's only a quarter of a gallon.
Yeah, but it's the everyday part.
Yeah,
But
that's
it's in-
true.
But it's
Every
also
single
alcohol. Like, there's a difference between a quarter of a gallon of like caffeine and a quarter
Yeah.
of a gallon of alcohol. A
They're probably
day.
talking a quarter of a gallon of liquor, which is a lot.
His
That's a
drink of choice
lot.
was wine.
Dude,
That's actually a lot too. Wine is very dangerous.
dude, a quarter. My mom doesn't do that much.
So that's
And
like
Brandon has met
one
her,
of these and a
so has
half.
Oliver.
And glasses of wine are poured sparingly for a reason. So 2 pints of that's pretty powerful.
Facts.
Buddy's dope as fuck.
Buddy's insane.
Goals.
Did you ever have a conversation with him?
So like sparingly, we would talk about our meals. Most polite guy I've ever met. He would always say thank you to the nurses. He would always say thank you to me. He's like, I hope you have a great day. I went up to him. He was sleeping at the time, but I woke him up and I was like, this is not his name, but Mr. Smith, thank you for being a really great roommate. You were best case scenario, and I truly hope that you get better. I'll be thinking about you. And he's like, thank you so much. I'll pray for you. Blah blah blah.
Aw,
Great
I'm
guy.
thinking about him. I'm
Dude-
thinking about
Dude's
him.
awesome.
Literally.
Dude's
I
awesome.
He sounds like a G.
he was cool as
He
fuck.
probably was.
Yeah.
He's a G for sure.
But yeah, man.
What's-
So that's what happened. I've got other stuff, but I want to save it for other episodes.
So yeah,
But I do have a question that kind of pertains to what we've been talking about. Do we want to go funniest story of you being in the hospital, or do we want to go with like the most horrific?
just like craziest, that encompasses both sides.
Craziest?
Like your
Crazy.
crazy visit to the
What's the
hospital,
crazy-
ER,
Right.
urgent care, dentist, whatever.
Okay.
Crazy visits to medical facilities. All right.
All right. Who wants to go first?
I want Oliver to do his car story.
Yeah,
I think
I
that'd be
actually,
interesting.
I feel like we've
Please.
heard this, but I feel like I don't remember it.
Excuse me.
So, this is not one of my brightest moments.
You don't have to share if you don't want to, if you're not comfortable.
It's fine. I laugh about it now. I was just being dumb.
Good.
I was
That's a
being-
good way to
I
look
was
at
being-
it.
I was being young and dumb.
Young, dumb, and
So-
broke, dude.
This was over the summer. I was at home. I was in my old Subaru Outback 2000, biggest car I've ever owned. It was a nice car.
Great car,
Lot,
Subaru.
lot of miles on it.
I loved that car, man. I loved that car for
It
you.
was a good car for what I only had it for 6 months before I crashed it. But
But
anyway,
it was fucking great to you.
That's true. Anyway, I was coming back from church. Out of all the places, right? I was coming back from church, and roads like
Good
2 or
boy.
3 minutes away from my house. You go up, like you go over a little bridge, and then go up around a hill. And people are notorious for speeding on this road. So what was I doing? I was speeding. Speed limit was, I don't even remember what it is. I think it's like 35 or 40. I was probably going 55, maybe pushing
Jesus
60.
Christ.
So as I'm going up around this hill, I decided like to go over to the other lane a little bit so I can like not turn as much, so it makes it easier for me to turn. Bad
Right.
idea.
Yeah,
So
you don't
as I
really pull that maneuver in a hatchback. That kind of ends up with the
Yeah.
opposite effect for you.
So as I was going around this curve and I started to turn, I spun back. My car was like this, the road's like this. So I'm like opposite way of it. I pop my tire, so the car rolls all the way over, right? So car rolls all the way over. I'm in shock. I have no idea what just happened. My windows were both rolled down. There was a house like right on this cliff that was watching me.
Well,
The
what
guy
was it like,
out-
like flipping? Like, were you in slow-mo, like a lot of people describe?
So
Dude,
it
that's
kind
how I
of
felt
happened.
My car.
It kind of happened like this, like really quickly, but it also kind of felt like what just happened. But for a second, I wasn't slow mo. I was like, "Am I spinning right
Yeah,
now?" Like,
when
what's
it's happening, it's super slow, and then you land, and you're like,
Yeah, yo,
fuck
I
just
was
happened?
I was holding my steering wheel, and I was like, "What just happened?" And
I
then-
didn't flip, but I spun out, which is a similar sensation.
So
honestly,
there's
I
this
took a good 2 or 3 spins
there
before
was
I
this
hit the light
house
pole.
right on the little cliff, right? It's a Sunday morning. There's this guy, just chilling on his porch, drinking some beer, having a grand old time watching this all unfold. Right? He's
Damn.
watching a show, so he comes like running up to my passenger side door because I had both windows and I was listening to music, and he goes, "Are you okay?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine." Like, I'm just kind of in shock. And then all of a sudden, I see all these cars on the other side of the road stopping, pulling over to the side, making sure I'm okay. There was glass everywhere. My back windshield blew out. My front
Jeez.
windshield and top had
Jesus.
crap everywhere on it. My car was still parked into the side. My phone would like flew 15 feet or more out of my car somewhere. I somehow found it.
Windows rolled
Fucking
down.
bravo.
Yeah,
You
my
had
windows
like
were
no
rolled down.
you had like no injuries though, right?
Yeah, so I walked away.
That's the
with
power of a Subaru, my friends.
So I walked away with a scrape on my elbow somehow, and then a scrape on my pinky on the same hand. But I think it was good that I had my
A
windows.
scrape on his pinky.
Yeah.
And
So
on his elbow.
if I had my windows up, I think they may have broken.
Yeah,
I
you would have been dealing with some glass. You might have had more major injuries. Lucky
Yeah,
they
so
were
there
rolled
was
down, actually.
glass and everything. So my car was totaled. Like you could fix it, but it was totaled.
It saved
So-
your life though.
So I was calling my
100%.
mom while this was happening. Funny thing though, when I called her, we had like family friends over, so she had to come to the scene where like, and all of her family friends like, oh, we'll stay here, it's fine, like go make sure he's okay. So I get there, everything's fine, like everyone's like trying to help out, move glass, whatever. Then the ambulance comes because somebody called the ambulance, of course, right? You got to call the ambulance.
Of course,
So-
you flipped a fucking car.
Yeah, ambulance came, a cop came. They were asking for like my ID, like what I was doing, my sober, stuff like that. Of course, the first thing I get there, my dad's concerned, but he's like, you could have avoided this, like giving me like the typical dad talk, like why did this happen? And I was like, oh my gosh, out of all the things I want to hear right now, this is the least.
Yeah, a lecture. Nice.
So then they ended up taking me to the hospital just for precautionary reasons because I had flipped my car and stuff. So I get there and I'm probably at the hospital for like half an hour or less. They put me in like not a stretcher, the gurney or whatever they're called, where they roll me in and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And then after I get in there, the nurses, the head nurse is like, "Why you guys have him in a gurney? He was walking at the scene of the crime, wasn't he?" And I was like, "Yeah, I was walking." So like, let him walk. So I was walking like around from like different room to different room while they like patched me up and stuff. And then my mom got there and everything. And then I saw the wreckage after the fact, like when I got home after the hospital, and the car looked so messed up. The whole front of the side was caved in. The back window, like I said, was broken. The front window was basically broken. The whole top looked like it had been in a war zone. It was so scraped up. There's
Yeah.
there's glass in everything in my car everywhere because I had both my seats pulled down. So there was this glass in the back everywhere. It was kind of freaky. I like hated myself for it because I didn't get a car right away for a hot sec. So I was
Oh, I remember that struggle,
I was
dude.
pissed.
When you needed rides all the time.
Were you still
mean,
in
it
your
was-
church clothes during this?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
A lot of people were like, "Where are you coming from?" And I was at church, and like that was probably your saving grace. And they're like, "How far were you from
Oh,
your house?" And
wow.
I was like 4 minutes away. They say crashes happen close to home, and I was like, I was literally probably 3 or 4 minutes away from my.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, you don't try to shortcut a turn in a hatch, all right?
Yeah, so
You got to take that thing gradual.
Yeah, so that kind of sucked because that was a pretty decent car for my second car, but it happens.
Wow.
Spit
Happy you're
happens.
alive, man.
Yeah,
It all
it's
comes
kinda
back
scary,
to
dude. Dude, if you ever see the pictures from this, oh my god, dude, you would have looked at it like, how did you walk away with just like a little scrape? This thing was in bad shape.
Love.
Well, the way you're describing it, I'm still
What
wondering
makes
how you
Subaru
got away with
Subaru.
a scrape on a pinky
I don't
and your
even.
elbow.
I think I got it from my pinky, just adrenaline because I was gripping the steering wheel so hard. But I don't know how I got on my elbow.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so that was
Just those
that
two
was
little
kinda
scratches.
scary. That was a little scary. I remember like being like in the ambulance and they were taking my blood pressure. Like, your blood pressure's really high. I was like, gee, I wonder why. Yeah,
It's like
my
I
blood
was just
pressure
in a
was like
fucking
my
tent.
my blood pressure was skyrocketed. They were like,
Of
you,
course, adrenaline.
and I was like, I mean, I'm trying to, but yeah.
All right, Will.
Jesus. Okay, I got two that we can pick from.
Okay.
Whichever one you guys want to hear. There is an ATV accident
Oh god.
where I broke one bone, where I broke my femur, or there is the hockey accident where I broke both of my ankles.
Hockey,
Okay.
definitely. Both your
Brandyn?
ankles. That
I was
sounds
gonna say
interesting.
femur because femur is like the strongest bone in your body.
All
Ooh,
right,
that's true.
Oliver,
That'd be
you're
pretty,
the tiebreaker.
pretty gruesome.
Oliver's the tiebreaker. Which one?
What were the ages when this happened?
Ooh, good call.
I was
I love this narrative.
I was 12 when I broke the femur, and I was 16 when I broke the ankles.
I'm
Ankles,
kind of
baby.
hoping for ATV.
Okay, we going ATV?
I'm kind of hoping
All right,
ATV.
fair enough,
This
fair
sounds a
enough.
little
I wanna-
He
I
likes
hear
them
either one.
young.
If we have time, I'll tell the other one. The other one's a pretty but so as a kid where we used to live, we had dirt roads, and so we had ATVs so that way we could get around our properties, all that stuff. I had a little ATV for myself, and then we had the big utility one that we used to haul wood and all. So that day, it was in the summer, and I had a couple childhood friends that were coming up to visit, but they were like hours out, like 4 hours away, and they just like left their home, so they were like on their way to our house over in wherever we were, like our old house. And so I was like, all right, well, while we wait for them, I'm gonna go ride the ATV around. That's what I did when I was bored. There really wasn't much else to do other than ride your ATV or go fishing at the
Dude, riding ATVs around's hella fun though.
Oh, it was. So
That was
I
a good
hop on
time.
my little one, start it up, put my helmet on. I go riding around, and there's one road that we had that you would come down and it was like a banked turn, and you would turn that way, and then you would go up on another banked turn. So I go down the one way and go down the banked turn. And as I'm coming up to the other one, there's a little driveway that I can turn around in. So I'm like, okay, I'll turn around, head back home. I've been doing this for about an hour and a half. I'll go back home. So I turned around, and as I'm coming back down, like, I just dazed off. Like, I just started like randomly. I know this sounds weird. I just started daydreaming on an ATV. Like, my focus was not on the. So next thing I know is that there's a giant like dip in like thing. Like, there's the road, and then there's like a giant crevice, like a giant incline that leads down to like a wooded area with like rocks and everything on there.
Oh
So,
wow! All right.
The next thing I remember like coming to is like I'm going down this like incline. Well, I can't jerk the wheel so that way I can get back up the incline because it's too steep. So I'm just heading down into this ravine. So I'm like weaving in between like freaking trees and all that. And I get to this one part where I can't weave anymore. So I'm going dead on at a tree. And it was like my instincts kicked in. It was either go headfirst into this tree or jump off and hope something fucking happens. So I jumped off, had my helmet on and everything, and it just went black. Everything just went black.
Yeah, that's scary, bro. Just to think about what you're doing too.
So I wake up and my helmet is off. And so like I'm looking around seeing if like somebody else is there. No one else is there.
You were just blacked out.
Blacked out. My helmet came off in the process. So I come to and I look around. The ATV is still running, but like it went dead on into the tree. Surprised there really wasn't that much damage to the ATV. It was actually really rugged. So it was really sturdy.
Nice.
Yeah. So ATV still running. So I'm just trying to I'm like, all right, I'm just going to get back up. Looks like nothing's wrong with me. I got like a scrape on like one of my legs. So I get up. I can't get up. I can't get up. So I'm like trying to figure out what's going on. So I try to stand up and use my left leg as my plan. My leg's just dragging. I can't move it. I can't move it.
That's so bad.
I can't move it from like here down. I can't move it. So I'm like, okay, I'm basically stuck here. I can't do anything. So I start screaming for help. It's a subdivision in the mountains. There's not that many people around. Either someone's in their home or someone might drive by. Like two cars pass by because I'm looking up the incline. 2 cars pass by. No one stopped.
Wow, this is like the good fucking Samaritan, dude.
I was like, well, I'm fucked, my guy. I'm screwed. So last ditch effort, I'm like, okay, I gotta get up. So I see this little sapling tree and like I like crawl towards it, grab it, pull myself up so that way I can stand, and then I lunge onto my ATV. I'm like, all right, I gotta get home. I'm only like a minute away from home. It's in my subdivision. So I'm literally driving back home.
Oh my god, you drove back home with your ATV.
Drove back home on the ATV. I had one arm under my leg holding it steady, the other one like this, like riding the ATV.
Shit.
Holy shit.
So I get home and my family, my childhood friends are there. They're at my house waiting with them out in the driveway. And my mom looks at me and she goes, excuse me, where have you been? And I was like, I got in a wreck. I can't move my leg. And she thought I was bullshitting because I had done that in the past. Like as a kid, you fake
Boy
injuries.
Who Cried Wolf. Boy Who Cried
Pretty much.
God.
So our driveway.
And I started kicking the bed.
Pretty much. And so our driveway, there's like an incline to get into our driveway too. So I park at the top of the driveway and my mom's talking to me and she was like, get down here so that way we can get off. You're not hurt. So I literally stand up on the ATV while I'm still holding my leg and just let my hand go. My leg goes from looking like this to just like halfway down the femur. From halfway down the femur to the bottom of my leg just goes this way.
Oh.
Gosh.
And my mom goes, holy shit, get down here. We got to get you to the hospital. And I'm like, so I like roll down the ATV, get off the ATV. And my mom just throws me in the back of the car that I currently drive. Like in the back of that.
Damn.
With like a pillow. And I'm like, why can't we call an ambulance? She's like, because it would take them about an hour to get back to where we are. So they drive me to the hospital, do all that. I go into the emergency room. My mom literally sits me on a table and and she talks to the lady and she's like, I need to get my son into the ER. He just broke his leg. And the lady's like, okay, we'll fill out the paperwork, all that. My mom's like, no, we need to do it right.
Oh my gosh.
Ooh.
My mom was like, we need to do it right fucking now. I don't know if there's internal bleeding or not. My son's leg is fucked up. And she's like, ma'am, we'll get to him. And she turned around to me and she's like, William, stand up. Show her what your leg's doing. And so I had to stand up and my leg goes sideways again. And the lady behind the glass, she's like, all right, we'll get him back there as soon as we can. So I get back there.
Gosh.
They cut off my shirt. They do all that stuff. They go through the surgery. It turns out that I had broken my femur directly in the middle.
Oh,
And what had happened
Yeah,
was,
dude.
like, literally, like, straight down the middle. And so what apparently had happened was when I jumped off the I had landed on a rock because there was rocks there. But I didn't think that the rocks were that sharp to the point that my meaty leg would break via a rock. I knew I was going to get scrapes, but I didn't think I was going to, like, break a bone.
Damn, son.
I apparently broken my femur in one place. They said the crack was about like that big, like the separation between the bones was like that on my femur. So
That's crazy.
they threw rods in my leg. I had a cast for about 6 months, all that, and I was fine during the operation. I was under the anesthesia, so I was knocked out during the operation when they were putting the rods into. So when time came to get the rods taken out, since like my femur was getting realigned,
Oh god.
all that, they put me under again, so that way they could cut like the 2 incision points at the top of my hip, and like right above my kneecap, so that way they could take the rods out. So what had happened was
I'm gonna puke, bro.
what had happened was they thought they had given me enough anesthesia to put me under. Apparently, midway through the operation, when they were taking my rods out, literally they had half a rod out of my leg, and I just sit up and I said, "How you guys doing down there?"
Oh my gosh, bro.
How you guys doing down there?
What the
And
fuck?
so the doctor stopped, and he's just holding the rod that's like halfway out of my leg. Why are you awake right now? I was like, I don't know. I just felt like saying hi, and then I just passed back out.
What the fuck, bro? That's so weird.
That's hilarious.
What?
that's
Just wakes
how-
up halfway through. Hey man, what's going on?
Hey man, hey guys, how you doing down there?
Just wanted to say
And
hi.
so that's how I broke my left femur.
Damn.
Did you fight off the anesthesia?
During the surgery where they were taking the rods out, yeah.
Bro, they were apparently like because they make you do a countdown. I don't remember the
Yes.
countdown at all. I don't remember this, but I told them ahead of time. I was like, I saw Steve-O fight it off until 1. I'm gonna get to 1. It's gonna happen. They put the mask on me. I black out. I don't know what happened, but apparently I got to 1.
Apparently when they did it to me the first time when they were going to put the rods in, I made it to 9, and then apparently when they were getting ready to take the rods out, I made it to 5.
There you go.
Nice.
You think they just tell everybody they made it to 1 to make them better?
That's the hope. I hope they do that.
Like,
How nice of them.
Brandon only made it to 10. Brendan only made it to like 9.
not saying you're not anything special, but I feel like they say that to everybody. It's like, yeah, you made it that far. Good.
That'd be very
Yeah,
wholesome.
like, this idiot won't remember.
That's what I'm
Alright.
saying. Well, I
So
mean,
that's mine. If we have time, I'll tell how I broke my ankles.
Well,
but
Travis hasn't
I want
gone.
to hear.
All
I know,
right,
that's what
I'm
saying.
gonna
I
I'm
wanna
gonna
hear
do my
Travis, your hand story.
yeah, I'll do my most recent. It wasn't a hospital visit; it was actually just an urgent care visit, but it was pretty funny nonetheless. I used to work at a restaurant, as probably most people watching this know, and I worked mostly morning shifts, so I had to go in early and prep everything, make the food because everything was like fresh made that day.
Hell yes, that's why.
So-
that's why that place was awesome.
Yeah, that's why it's fire. But I'm prepping. I'm making some, and I have to open these bags of carrots, and these things are like fucking vacuum sealed. If you've ever seen that infomercial for those bags where you like vacuum out the air for your clothes,
yeah.
the bags
Dope
of
as
these
fuck.
carrots are like that. I don't know why they're like sealed like that, but whatever. They're really fucking hard to
Keep
open
'em
because
fresh,
of it.
bro.
Because they're like pressed right up against the carrots. There's no place to really grab it and like rip through to open the bag. So I'm like, my genius ass with the scissors sitting right in the fucking coffee mug next to my head, decide I'm going to use a knife to open this bag and just stab it through so I can make a hole to rip open. So I'm holding the bag like this, bag's dangling down. I'm like trying to poke the knife through. You can just already see how stupid this is and where it's going to end up. So as I'm pushing the knife through, the bag like crumples in my hand, and I just slipped the knife right across the back of my hand like that. And it's like I didn't even the adrenaline was so high, I guess, that I didn't even know anything happened at first. Like, because I was wearing gloves too. I was wearing like plastic gloves so I could mix the slaw later. And so I saw the glove was cut, and I'm like, oh shit, I cut my glove. I didn't even realize I cut my hand. And then I realized, like, I kind of do feel something there. I didn't feel pain, but I was like, I feel something there. So I took the glove off, and I see that, like, there's a cut on my hand. It looks kind of tame at first, but then I look closer, and I see that it's actually way bigger than I thought it was. And I had actually cut my hand so deep that it wasn't even bleeding yet. Like, it had been a solid 10 or 15 seconds, and my body hadn't even registered that it was supposed to bleed. So, like, right before it starts bleeding, I go like this. What?
Travis made a doctoral precision cut with a
literally like it couldn't have been more straight and perfect. Honestly, the scar now doesn't look that great, but it looked good when it was cut. It was precision. You're right, and it was deep. Because I opened up the cut. For some reason, like, I was literally, like, in shock, obviously. So I was like, what the fuck even happened here? Because I was also confused because it wasn't bleeding. So I, like, open up the scar, and I can, like, see my nerves and shit. And then comes the blood. And the blood is fucking flowing. It is a fountain. We're putting everything on this. We're putting napkins. We're putting paper towels. We're putting gauze. We're trying to like glue this shit together with that. What is it? It's like liquid. They call it like liquid stitches or something like that.
Yeah.
We were trying everything, but the blood would just not stop flowing. So finally, we just wrap it with. If you've ever seen, this is a stupid reference, but if you've ever saw Sam and Cat, where she had like the bandages on her hands that look like boxing gloves. I legit had that much gauze around my hand. It looked like I was wearing a fucking boxing glove. And
Jesus,
I drove myself to urgent care.
You drove yourself.
We called the big boss in at that point, the owner of the restaurant, and she was like, "Here's how we're gonna do this. We're just gonna you're just gonna go to urgent care." And I'm like, "Yeah, it seems like I have to, right? I mean, at least to see if I need stitches. It seemed pretty deep. I don't know if I'm gonna need them. We'll see." So I'm like, and everybody's like, "Oh my god, do you need help? Are you okay? Does it hurt?" It literally didn't. Though that was the weirdest part. It never really hurt, honestly, until the stitches. Obviously,
Yeah.
Well, duh.
I forgot to preface the story by saying I have a huge needle phobia.
I actually didn't know that.
Doesn't everybody?
Yeah. So I drove myself to urgent care with one hand. I had my other hand like cradling, like trying to figure out which way I should hold it so that it bled less, because I could just feel it like going down into the bandage and down my wrist. Because I heard you're supposed to like hold it above your head, right? So I was trying to do that, but I could still feel the blood just gushing. I get to the urgent care and I'm like trying to explain what's going on. I've never been to an urgent care before, so I didn't really know what to do. I'm like, I cut myself with a knife.
I hurt myself today.
I actually waited a pretty long time, but it was kind of worth it. I mean, I'm alive, so you know, no infection or anything. So then I went back to the doctor, and this is where it gets crazy, because I was like lying to myself up until this point. I'm like, because of I know I don't like needles. I'm like, I'm not gonna have to get stitches. I'm not gonna have to get stitches. It's not gonna be that bad. They've got some like new age fucking technology that can seal this up without needing stitches.
Oh, God.
They can do something other than stitches, right? No. He's like, he takes like one look at it, and my hand is sitting there in a fucking pool of blood still, by the way. It's still just bleeding its ass off as he's looking at it, and he's like, yeah, you're gonna need stitches. So I'm like, fuck, dude. Fuck. And I'm just dreading it. From there, I go ghost white, because I'm just dreading it. And so, but I'm trying to like play it cool. I'm trying to play it cool. I sit back. I'm like, oh yeah, stitches, no big deal. I put my hand on the table in this pool of my own fucking blood. I'm trying not to think about that it's a pool of my own blood. And he starts to like stitch it up, and as he's just poking this needle, I'm trying to look away and like think about other things, so I don't know when the first poke comes. But I feel the first poke and then the second, and I look over and I see this needle just like going through my hand, sealing my hand together, and it just makes me sick. And so I start to go even paler, and I start to like breathe really heavily, and I start to get really cold and go into a cold sweat. And at that point, I can't play it cool anymore. The doctor is like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I think I just need to lay back while you do this." So I start laying back. And then like these two nurses that were like in the hallway observing this surgery that was being performed on me. And they're like, "Oh my God, what do you need? Do you need a blanket? Do you need like a washcloth?" So they put this like warm washcloth on my forehead and like put a blanket over me while the doctor's still sewing. It did help me distract me a little bit, but I was like whiting out. I didn't pass out completely, but I was like dotting out basically. And then it was finally done, and I regained my composure. I was like, for the last like stitch or two, I had to like just get back. I had to get 4 stitches. So through the first 2, I started freaking out, and he stopped. And then he's like, "All right, are you ready for me to do these last 2?" And I'm like, I'm like laid back with my blanket and my washcloth. I'm like, okay, just do it. And it was so bad. I was so embarrassed because it's just a needle. It's just 4 stitches, man. But
I never knew that about you.
Hate needles, man. I hate fucking
needles. Are pretty tough, man. I've never met anyone that likes needles.
I know, and that's why it feels so stupid to say I have a phobia, but it literally is. I mean, I almost passed out from getting 4 fucking stitches. Anyway, and I went back, and I had to get them off 10 days later, and I went back, and I'm like, I felt like a celebrity, and it was a nurse that took out the stitches, because the doctor doesn't have to like take out the stitches. It's easy. You just have to like undo the knots and snip them. So a nurse is taking them out, and I'm crowded around by like 3 other nurses. They're like, "Do you need anything? Are you going to be okay this time? Do you need me to like get you a preemptive blanket or a washcloth or anything?" I'm like, "No, I mean, it was really just the needle." I mean, just pulling strings out of my hand, that's fine. But the needle was really where I was freaking out. I was totally fine getting them taken out.
Wow.
That's tough.
So that's my story.
Jesus.
And now I have this badass scar, which actually hurts more than the actual cut ever did. When I play video games, like on the keyboard for a prolonged amount of time, I play like MOBAs, so I have the QWER. That really like aches my scar.
Damn. Well, it's been an hour and 2 minutes.
Yeah.
That's about it, boys. That's about it, boys.
Good show.
Oh, jeez.
We just banged one out real quick.
Nice.
Yeah.
Jeez. Didn't even feel that long.
I know, for reals.
All right.
I just want to say that like I'm gonna have less energy on my part, so be prepared for that. However,
We'll
next week,
just kidding.
next week is gonna be a very special episode. Do you guys even know why it's gonna be a very special episode?
No, tell me why.
It's the week of Valentine's Day, bros.
Oh my God, we do like that. Like that.
Don't get me started. I'm gonna cry, bro.
Let's all cry. Make a vow to cry on the next show.
I have like a really bad like Valentine's Day story. So
Let's
oh
go.
God, we'll do good and bad Valentine's stories. This will be fun.
I'm down with
it's
that.
really sad.
We also have some relationship questions that are in my inbox that we can do next time around.
No better week for it.
Are we having a special guest anytime soon?
We might. We
We should
have
have
some.
a female. We should have a female guest for the Valentine's week show.
I think we should bring in our GFs, and Will can bring in
yes.
some random girl.
I'm about to say, we bring in one.
We'll can invite the nurse, bro.
Invite the nurse.
I'm down. I'll get her number.
Do it.
Oh, okay, sexy.
All right, boys. Good shit.
Yeah. So if you had any questions regarding any relationship stuff, You know what it is. You know what the email is. Dr.
Oh, yeah.
SpinShootimpress at gmail.com. That's DRSBINSHOOTIMPRESS at gmail.com. Also, it's in the description. Ask us any questions that you have about your relationship stuff, and we'll keep it anonymous if you would like us to. Other than that, I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Sorry we missed last week, obviously. I was literally internal bleeding, so that's cool.
Sorry, I was bleeding out of my ass.
My asshole was getting fingered, so I hope you understand. You guys have anything else to say?
I'm Gucci.
What's the word, bro?
Oh, we need that
Oh,
word!
that's the word.
Oh shit! Oh shit! Good one, Oliver.
I know the word. I know the word.
Okay.
Kidney stones.
Kidney stones is the word.
Kidney stone.
Comment kidney stone
Bro.
in the comment description. All right, boys. Very nice talking to you.
All right.
Take it
Peace out,
easy.
boys.
Leave
you,
a like,
boys.
comment, pee pee poo poo.